Gather round, boys, girls, and children. I have a fable to read to you all. Our story begins on a warm summer's day. In a small, tattered town, in a small, tattered house, where a small, tattered cat resided, mainly in his bed. A sad cat, rendered cold and withered by the whispers of his past actions.
Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Lausse the cat. Again, we talked about this artist around 4 years ago here, and it was a lot of fun to make that video. And recently he dropped new music. Along with the new music, he also released a limited vinyl pre-order release, which, side note, I completely missed because I didn't know he dropped the album until late January. So if anyone that's got one, wants to sell me one, just let me know. But back on track. This album is sensational to me. I feel as though he took everything he learned from creating the girl, the cat, and the tree and turned it up to 20. Nah, actually 100. A million. Final answer. The composition, the production quality, the length, everything has been improved upon, and I urge you to listen to it in its entirety from start to finish, because once again, the album tells a story. We once again join our favorite small black cat from a small tattered town that resides in a small tattered house. But before we get into the new album, I said 4 years ago that I don't get paid enough to go into details about the meaning behind the story Lausse is trying to tell us through his music. And that is still true. But I think it's important that we go through what was said. So before we begin the video, I would just like to ask you all to like and subscribe so that I can keep making videos where I talk about things. Thank you. Chapter 1. The Girl, the Cat, and the Tree. We start with Motor City, where it all began. The cat, who could easily be seen as Lausse himself, and not just some random cat in a story, but I don't know him personally, so for now, we'll continue talking about Lausse the cat instead of Lausse the artist. Make sense? Okay. The song speaks about the cat's thoughts, with him pondering about why people ask him why he never steps outside the house. Why does he live in darkness? And I think that is meant literally and metaphorically, with lights only at his snout, which just means he smokes. They describe him as a carcass if he's out, and mention he's only out for parties or at the pub when he wants to meet women. The cat replies that he doesn't see the point in getting dressed, the point in getting breakfast either. The cat acknowledges that the symptoms described fit depression and alcoholism, but smiles when he's in bed and writes sonnets. Writing songs is the only thing that brings a smile to the cat's face. He doesn't want to get a degree, get a 9-to-5 job, and make money doing nothing in an office. At this point in the song, the cat takes a stroll through his local park and sits on his favorite bench, where we're introduced to the girl. The girl asks the cat what was wrong, and the cat explains that life in Motor City is not good for the cat. He describes it by saying, see more than 4 times a day the demise of a soul, and bin-ridden streets full of sin-ridden teens. And my favorite line, grey skies lie here and a couple mecha bingos, which pretty much solidifies that he's talking about somewhere in England. A quick Google search suggests that he's talking about Coventry, but I don't know this cat, so I can't say for certain. Plus, there aren't any mecha bingos in Coventry, according to another Google search. So, grain of salt for both of those and you'll be fine. It's most likely that he's talking about London here, if I'm honest, but I can't be sure without talking to the artist. This is all just my interpretation of the lyrics. The cat says that life in Motor City makes a heart numb, and after searching for what's wrong with his own heart, he feels as though his heart is gone. The girl, understandably, says that sounds awful, and says to the cat that she knows a wizard who may be able to help. The next song, Drink with the Leaves, features the young wizard, who I learned as I am writing this is Nick's Northwest. The tree in the title of the album is referring to the young wizard, and the wizard actually has some good advice for the cat. He tells a story about someone who he used to know who had a hole where he thought his heart would be and tried to fill it with booze, birds, packets, and ecstasy. He states the person didn't realize that the hole was just getting bigger, and naturally the man decided to have more drugs and more alcohol in an attempt to fill this hole. Eventually he tried to stop, but he couldn't get out of the habit, and days after trying to stop, he had died as the hole grew larger and he fell inside. This is when the tree wizard reveals that he's talking about himself and his past life. And that brings us to the next song, called Toy's Story, with the tree asking the cat to think about the times before he used any substances to get through the day, perhaps when things were more innocent. The cat tells the story about how, as a wee kitten, he and his boys would piss about, skip school, steal beer from the nearest Tesco, and were afraid of nothing but their mothers. This meant that as soon as they were out of the house, nothing could stop them. This life continued until one day they were chased by the police that mobilized a helicopter to track them. The boys tried to make a plan to escape the police, and it's not clear to me exactly what happens to everyone, but at least Lausse the cat makes it to a tube station and gets to South, which is probably referring to South London, where he immediately begins to party with his friends and a girl. And a side note, at the end of this song, we are left with I can't even speak, that's how incredible the vocal is. It's just 5 words, but I suspect this is Be All. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce that. As she appears all over the Mocking Stars, but she's not credited on Spotify at least, so I don't know for sure, but it sounds like her. Just listen to this. It's 5 words. This takes us to the interlude, which is basically just the tree explaining that Lausse and his friends had split up when being chased by the police and managed to meet up again on the way to a house party. Another side note, the lyrics for this song says allotted when it should say alighted. That's probably not a big deal to anyone else, but those words mean 2 very different things. And this brings us to my favorite song on the album, Fuckboy Lullaby. Now this one does have Be All credited as a feature. Before we get into the song, I honestly love Be All's voice. I listened through her latest project titled 26% Mixtape, and I think you should too. But back to the topic at hand. Fuckboy Lullaby begins with Lausse trying to get with a girl he meets at the house party that he and his friends were going to. He has a line around 1.5 minutes in which states, "Nick's on the keys, tell the boys what went on," which got me thinking, Nick's? As in Nick's Northwest, who's all over the Mocking Stars too? And then that's how I actually figured out that Nick's Northwest is the youthful wizard, the young wizard. On his Spotify account, his about section just says at youthful wizardry. So I'm pretty sure this was common knowledge as this came out in 2018, but I meant what I said when I didn't get paid enough to do all of this Googling, man. Anyway, the rest of the song explains about the cat's relationship with the girl he met at that party, who we come to know as Lucy, and how he ripped her heart out and ate it in one before disappearing on her. After this, we move on to a cat's demise where the tree recognizes Lucy as his daughter and begins to berate the cat, saying he took the piss and that he can't forgive the cat for what he's done. He asks the cat to explain himself, to which we get the hardest bar in the album.
If I am stood for I am a monster, then guess I could be an I am cat.
I'm gonna let you think about that one for just a couple more seconds. The cat basically shows no remorse for what he had done, saying he's done it before, and even with people who are in committed relationships, as he doesn't care if he's pardoned. The tree is not best pleased, to say the least, and rips the cat's heart out from his chest, leaving a hole where it once had a beating heart. There's some back and forth here, but the tree believes the cat no longer deserves a heart. After some kind words from Kenny Schwizzle, we move on to the final song on the album, Belle Bouteille. and I apologize if I pronounced that wrong, but that means beautiful bottle in English, so there you go. Now, most of this song is in French, but it was translated by a Reddit user, Disco Pisces, so shout out to them. This song is basically Lausse the cat returning to his ways after losing his heart, trying to fill the hole that he now has physically as well as metaphorically with alcohol. He gets some money from a friend to buy a beautiful bottle of red wine and dances in the streets, drowning his sorrows. At the end of the song, he repeats the beginning, "Hey man, do you think you can lend me a bit of cash? And don't tell me to stop. I didn't come to you for help, just alone to buy myself some wine and beer, fill this hole of mine and let my troubles disappear." I think the repeating of the beginning bars right at the end is to sort of symbolize that he's back into the cycle of drowning his sorrows in alcohol and substances, and that is how the story ends. That's all we were left with for so many years. And he had done some work on different projects, but nothing of his own until November of 2025, when he dropped his latest album, The Mocking Stars. But yeah, that is the end of chapter 1, The Girl, the Cat and the Tree. After having gone through this all, it's probably more likely that the girl in the title refers to Lucy, rather than the little girl in the blue dress that introduces Lausse to the tree wizard. But I wrote this script while going through the album song by song, so you can kind of see the evolution of my thoughts on the album. Now, I will be making a video going into the details of The Mocking Stars, sort of similar to how I've done this one, but I kind of just wanted to get this out as soon as possible. It's kind of like a passion project for me at this point. I still don't get paid enough to do this, but it was actually a lot of fun, you know, and I got to listen to the music and, you know, think about it on a deeper level than just it sounds really good, which is refreshing. I honestly don't get this kind of feeling from many albums anymore. So thank you very much, Lausse the Cat, Nix Northwest, Bior, everybody that was involved in this project and the next one that I'll be talking about. In the meantime, though, I'll be doing weekly Valorant montages, and I know, you know, they don't perform very well, but they're fun to make. And at this point in this channel, that's all it really is. It's just a bit of fun. So thank you for watching and have a good day. Oh, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Tell me to stop, I didn't come to you for help, just to get along.